How's everyone doing today? I am joined here with all our lovely pet lambs. Here's one. Thanks again for everyone coming to tune in. They're all around me. I'll turn the camera so you can see them all. But I thought I'd bring all the lovely little pets in with us today. There we go. I'll tilt the camera a wee bit so you can see. You can see everyone. There we go. So we've got our lovely little pets, and there's some more here. Hope everyone's having a really lovely Saturday. So if you tuned in last week, you might have seen that we had a couple of the pet lambs in with us, but we've actually got more since last week. So we are now bottle feeding six pet lambs. And I'll tell you something, feeding 6 lambs at 6 in the morning is difficult work. Difficult work. So if anyone has any questions while I'm doing this, I will, like before, try and answer as much as possible as questions come up. There we go. So this one's the cuddliest one. She loves a wee cuddle and a wee bit of attention. You see her? She's saying hello to everyone. It's a brand new pen for them. So they've been through in one of our other sheds, and that is because they get a wee heat lamp. Now a heat lamp is, well, basically as it sounds, it's a big lamp with a lovely sort of infrared bulb in it. And it keeps them nice and warm at night time, and until they're a wee bit stronger and their body heat sort of gets a lot better from the milk. They get a wee heat lamp at night time just to keep them nice and cozy, just basically like a nice duvet cover, like your bed. So I'll pick up some of the other pet lambs as we go along. You'll see she's wanting some milk. So we're going to feed these lambs about 25 past 11, so you can all see the lambs getting their lovely bottles. Now since last week, if you tuned in, we've had a good few lambs born, and actually we had one last night at midnight. So that was a wee single lammy, and she's with mum at the moment. I won't take you over just because mum is a new mum, and she gets a wee bit nervous of sort of everyone around her. So in the farming terms, we call new mums before they've had their lambs, they're called gimmers. So she's a gimmer, and it's her first lamb. So she needed a wee bit of help last night. It was all very new for her. So Farmer Graham, he helped her give birth. But the lamb is doing great, and she loves it very much, which is fantastic. Got all the lambs around me. So I thought we would focus today on maybe sort of lamb care, sort of answer some questions that everyone might have. Now we spoke a wee bit about last week about tags. So you'll see this wee girl, she's got her tags in. And just to recap for anyone who wasn't watching last week, you can watch the first video on our Facebook page, but I've also put it on our YouTube page. But like I say, for anyone who didn't watch, who missed it, the yellow tag, it has our flock number on it, and also an individual, a unique number for the lamb, or for, you know, who we're tagging. Now the yellow one has a microchip in it, which is great for sheep identification, and the green one doesn't have a microchip, but has the same numbers on it, the flock number and the individual number. So flock number is inside and individual number is on the front. So she is 1092. Now for anyone who has bought a name and lamb pack, thanks very much. And some of these pet lambs that have their tags, I'll try and read some of them out so you might be able to see the lamb that you've named. And we've had some great names so far, really, really lovely names. Off the top of my head, we've had Larry, Lammy, Pickle, Covey, Rory. So fantastic, thank you so much. Now I'll see if I can get some of the comments up. and try and read them as we go along. So I'll put her down. So she's hello everyone, and I'll try and pick up someone else so you can see. But she is a wee girl. Now before I put her down, I'll talk to you about what we do when lambs are born. So if the mum needs help and the mum doesn't need help, what happens is that when lambs come out, just like babies, they're covered in sort of a membrane. Now the membrane is all over their face and all over their bodies, and normally the mum will lick all that membrane off. But sometimes they need a wee bit of help because the membrane can cover their whole face and it can stop their noses, stop them from being able to breathe. So we help mums sometimes wipe that off, and when they're born, we spray their navels, which are here, their little navels, with a watered down iodine solution. Now this is extremely watered down, so it obviously doesn't sting them or hurt them, but that's because their navels are exposed, because that's where the umbilical cord has been attached, and it saves any nasty germs getting into their system. She's very keen. She's lovely. So I'll pick up one of the other lambs, see if we can get the Dartmoor lamb over, wherever she is. Come on, you. See if I can get her. You can see some of the other lambs kicking about. There we go. So that breed there of that lamb, that was an Oxford Down. And this girlie is a grey-faced Dartmoor, and she looks very different from the other ones. She's a different breed, and I think she has the loveliest face. She's lovely. So she's already been named. Her name is Ramy, and she is a lot bigger than the rest of them, just because she's a wee bit older, and she loves having her bottles of milk. She takes a full bottle 4 times a day, and she gets a lovely full tummy when she has her milk. So with Ramy, her mum didn't have any milk, and unfortunately sometimes that happens if a ewe is maybe a wee bit too thin, or sometimes it just happens that they don't produce a lot of milk, or if they get something called mastitis, which is an infection in the udders, so cows can get it too, women can get it too, and it's an infection, and what it does is causes pus, and then obviously the lambs can't drink out of it, and the teats go very hard. So her mum didn't have the milk, so what we did was, we first of all gave her some of this. Now this is lamb colostrum, and it comes in a little sachet like this. So what you do is you mix it with some water, and colostrum, for those of you who don't know, is like the first milk. It gives you all the really good nutrients that you need. So we gave her some of that to make her nice and strong, line her stomach, and then since she was born, which was about 2.5, 3 weeks ago now, we've been bottle feeding her. Now last week I spoke about the lamb milk, and I've actually taken some for you to hopefully see. So it's just like a powder, and I said last week that you just mix it with a wee bit of water, and that's what they get in their milk 4 times a day. So she's been tagged. Her number is 0171, and the number system goes up, so usually you can tell how old one of your sheep in your flock is by the number that they have on their tag. So for example, the sheep that had the big single lamb that I was just talking about this morning, her number is an 800 number, and that means that she's 2 years old, because 2 years ago it was the 800th. Sorry, the lambs beside me, they're rummaging around my my show and tell box. Yeah, so you could tell they're 2 years old with the 800 number for us anyway. And you can also tell the age of a sheep by its teeth. Now when lambs are born, they have little milk teeth, and then they start losing them, and they get 2 teeth a year until they're 4. So when they're sort of fully matured, they'll have 8 teeth. Now, they only have teeth in the bottom jaw primarily, which is all incisors. They don't have canines, and they have nothing on the top gum, which would be called a plate. And they do have wee sort of molars at the back. But the reason they have these teeth is because they like to graze, and they graze the grass. And what happens is they've got a solid plate and they've got their incisors. They use their incisors to cut the grass, and then they sort of mush it up with the plate, and then it gets swallowed. Now here's the sort of misconception for some people. I'm gonna be a myth buster today. Some people think that ruminant animals, like cows and sheep, have 4 stomachs. Actually, they have 4 stomach chambers. So they have 4 chambers in their stomach. And sometimes when I've eaten a lot of chocolate, I wish I had 4 stomach chambers. It'd be a lot easier to digest. So the point of having 4 stomach chambers is because, first of all, when they get the grass, they chew up, and they swallow it into the first chamber. And it comes back up, like sort of regurgitates. And then this is what is called chewing the cud. So they use their back teeth and they chew it all down, and it gets lovely, kind of like soup, watercress soup, and it gets chewed and chewed. And that's how they digest the grass, and it gets swallowed again, the same process, and then in the last chamber, that is when digestion happens. Now, sort of back to milk. Sometimes what can happen is if a lamb is really weak and it can't drink from a bottle, you know, if it's been born and it's quite small and we need to get the colostrum that I spoke about and the milk down it so it can survive and obviously have a full tummy. Sometimes it's not possible to feed the lambs from a lamb bottle teat. So what we do is use this. Now this comes apart. This is a feeding tube. Okay? So this part here goes down their throats into their stomachs, and you get the syringe and you pop it on the bottom and you pour the milk into it. And what it does obviously is feeds the milk down to their tummies, so they have a nice full tummy of milk. Now you only really do this with very young lambs, and that is because the older you do it with the older lambs, it can cause an infection. And that is because they're a wee bit older, sort of their teeth have really come through, their milk teeth, and they're less, well, they protest a lot. They have more of a choice and say, I don't want a tube down my throat, and that's fair enough. I wouldn't want a tube down my throat either. So you do this with smaller lambs, and it's got, I don't know if you can see, it's got a wee hole in it, and that is where the milk comes out. And you don't want the milk to come out too quickly. You want them to sort of be able to drink nice and slowly. But yeah, the feeding tube. Now, a couple of the lambs that are in the pen with me, I will grab one for you, bear with. So this one got a feeding tube when it was born. And that is because its mum really wasn't very well when she lambed. And him and his sister, who is behind me, they were quite weak. And so this one was tube fed, and now it's doing really well, and it's on the bottle. Now the reason why its mum was so weak was because she had something which is called twin lamb disease. Now this can happen in sheep sometimes, and it's basically when they have a deficiency in certain vitamins and minerals, and it makes them quite dopey, and it also makes them quite ill. Now what we do if we catch the disease early enough is we give them a twin lamb disease solution, and it's really quite cool. So I will get the bottle for you. Okay, so this is what we call twin lamb solution, and it kind of looks like Ribena. And what you do, it's got a wee straw, and you give it to the ewe. Just you put the straw sort of the side of her mouth and she swallows it. And it's basically a glucose sugar solution. And what that does is it sort of perks her up, gives her the sugars that she'll need, and fingers crossed she obviously gets better. There you go. So these lammies haven't been tagged yet. They haven't got their tags. But we're going to do them today, afterwards. So what I'll do is I'll move the camera and let everyone see the babies. Enough of my face. Here we are. So like I say, we've got six wee ones, and they are kicking about, wanting lots of lovely milk. So while they're exploring, I'll take you to see some of the lambs that we have, and the ewes that are still expecting. So this ewe here, her name is Megan. We bought her in as a present for one of our friends, and she had twins not long ago. And they're sleeping, so I'll try and be quite quiet. There we go. Nice and sleepy after their milk. She's a good mum. She's lovely. Now, we did, last week, we had a ewe that had triplets, which is always really exciting, but it can be quite worrying at the same time. Now, this is because ewes only have 2 teats, so obviously one for each lamb to drink out of. It becomes slightly more problematic when there's more than 2 lambs, because she might not have enough milk to feed them. So this ewe here, she had the triplets. Now, in case you're wondering what, oh, where am I? I'm working backwards. The blue frame is, that is to keep the lambs nice and warm, and so mum doesn't steal the heat of the heat lamp. So, like I was saying to you earlier, this here is a heat lamp. It's got a big bulb in it, and when it's on, it gives a lot of lovely heat to the lambs. Now, we put this structure here. It's part of our old play park, and that's because sometimes what can happen is that the ewes like to stand under the heat lamp, and of course, when you've got a lot of heat, it's been known to start smelling of singed wool, and we don't really want that during the night. That wouldn't be too good. Hello, darling. So I'll quickly try and show you. This is the one that gave birth last night, and hopefully you could see her wee lamb. So she had a single lamb, and it's not uncommon. What is quite uncommon is triplets with us. But I don't think I mentioned before that the one I just saw, she sadly lost one triplet. It's quite usual. You get 2 kind of medium-sized ones and one who's a wee bit weaker, and unfortunately that's what happened. But yes, we got the lovely single lamb, a single girl, and she's nice and big. Now, in terms of feeding, we feed our sheep, especially in all our animals, apart from the pigs and the horses. We feed them something called silage, and that is in the winter, in the colder spells, really when the grass isn't there on the ground. Now, silage basically is pickled grass. It's fermented grass. So this is, I'll get you some for you. This is what it looks like. And it sort of smells like you've opened a tin of pickled onions. You get used to the smell after a while. I think it's quite nice, but I'm a bit biased. So, pickled grass. And what happens is then the farmers will cut the grass, and there's a couple of ways to make silage, but the way we do it at Doonies is that we cut the grass and we wrap it in what's called silage wrap. And that means that it can't get any sort of air into it, and then it sort of ferments, and it's really good for them, and they can chew away at it, and they can chew away. Hay is something a wee bit different. That's not fermented, that's a sort of dried grass. And we have straw, and that is for bedding up, the nice cosy beds. Straw is, again, it's a wee bit different. Straw is effectively the stalks of different crops that are cut, and they're obviously nice and dry, and they get baled up, and we use that for bedding. Although it is for bedding, although some of the goats like to like to eat it, which, you know, that happens sometimes. So I'll try and see if I can find the comments. For some reason the comments aren't coming up yet, but I'll work on it while I show you round the lambing tunnel. Here we are. These are another two that are all cozy. That's Mum just chilling out. And this is the mummy who had the three. It's feeding time, obviously. And these are the girlies that still are yet to give birth. They're holding on, and it's a lovely day here, so no reason why they can't give birth today. Now, it's quite usual for sheep to lamb either early in the morning or late at night. Not too usual during the day, and that is just because, being the animal they are, the idea is that they want to lamb, and then once the lamb is licked clean and the afterbirth, the placenta is out, they want to get as far away as possible so no predators come and smell the lambing fluid. So that's why sort of they will lamb early in the morning or late at night. So in here we've still got some of the grey-faced Dartmoors, these hairy ones over here, and we've also got some of the Oxfords over here. And like I say, they're holding on, so you know, anytime ladies. So these are our first batch, and at the end of the month our other three breeds will come into lamb. That's the Norfolk Horn, the Kerry Hill, and the Portland. The Portland's lamb outside, which is nice and easy, and it's just easier because they like sort of their space. So she's the mummy that lambed last night, and she's doing really well. The lambie was up having its milk, and she seems really, really happy. Yeah, she loves her wee lamb, which is great. It's always great for us, so we don't have to feed too many. We'll go back to the pet lambs and we'll let you guys see them. Now, in case you may have missed it, we are selling, a bit of a plug here, Name a Lamb packs. And what that means is you get your very own certificate naming a lamb, and we will give you a tag number, and that is your wee lamb. And you get lots of wee goodies as well with it. Oh, there's Archie. He knows what's happening because we're going to be feeding the lamb's milk. I gave Farmer Graham strict instructions to make up all the bottles for me. Because I'm talking to you guys, which is great. And enter the star.
Morning. Are you Emma or Alice?
I'm the favourite daughter.
You're the favourite daughter?
I'm the favourite daughter.
Okay.
Right, so again, in case you missed it last week, these are the bottles. And just with the milk powder that I showed you, this is what, oh, they know what's happening. Come on now. Hi. think, oh well, I don't need my hands, they can help themselves. Right, so I'll take a couple. And what I'll do, guys, is I'll just... Here we are. See if I can take you. Come on. Oh yes, they love their bottles of milk. And then usually after they've had their bottles, they'll have a wee sleep. Just like a wee baby. Now, sorry guys, my comments aren't flashing up on the screen today for some reason. But what I'll do is any questions you do have, I will go back and answer them for you. Technology is not my pal. It's not Farmer G's pal either, eh?
Definitely not mine.
He still writes letters. Now we really do wish that we could open with, out with COVID, but unfortunately we can't at the moment. But hopefully, lambing season next year, we will open, and like we did a few years ago, we can do a wee hold a lamb session for everyone, and they can feed the lammies. Very, very keen. And you just tip the bottle up. When lambs are drinking from their mums, if you can see what mine is doing, it sort of gets down on its two front legs, and that is just so it can get a better angle for mum's milk. Oh, look at this expert on the go. 3.
Not the first time I've fed lambs.
Farmer G, how long have you been feeding lambs for in your life?
Oh, too many years.
Too many years.
Too many years.
It's a seasoned farmer.
Just like feeding, you know.
I'm sure I was just as greedy.
Oh yes.
Lovely. And sometimes their wee tails go as well when they're happy that they're getting food. So we'll feed them 4 times a day, so it's about 6 o'clock, 12 o'clock, we're obviously doing a wee bit early for you guys to see, 5 o'clock and then 10 o'clock. And they'll slowly get weaned off the milk as they get older, so we'll reduce the bottles, and we'll also start introducing some more solid foods for them. Oh, what a messy lamb. And then eventually they'll be on solid food, so they'll be on grass. And maybe a wee bit of silage and hay. And they'll grow nice and big. Oh, look at that tail going. Very happy. Happy to have the milk. See this Dartmoor saying, I would like my food now, please. I'm sorry if only I had another couple of hands. You'll get yours in a wee second. So the milk is just sort of body temperature. It's not too hot or not too cold. It's the perfect porridge. And they'll get nice full tummies. How are you getting on, Farmer G?
I'm managing.
Managing?
You know,
Yeah, struggling on?
struggling on.
Okay, well that's good. That's good. See if we can give the Dartmoor some... You want some milk? No, I think she's had some. She's quite full. I'll place this here. Okay, guys. Well, thanks so much for tuning in again. We've got lamb cams happening next Saturday and the Saturday after. All through March. Hopefully we'll have some more lambs for everyone to see. Fingers crossed if the other Dartmoors decide to lamb anytime soon. fingers crossed we won't have any more pet lambs, because I think 6 is enough for anyone to manage. But I will put this video on our Facebook page. I will save it, and I'll also put it on our YouTube page too. And any information or anything you want to ask us, just pop it in the comments and I will answer all the questions for you. And yeah, I hope that everyone can tune in next week. And until now, it's bye from me and Barbara G.
Bye from me. Sorry, I'm not used to it.
Okay guys, thanks so much now. Bye.